Welcome to the Game Changers Podcast, bringing you insights and influencers from the wide world of sports, business, and personal development. Here's your host, former professional athlete, author, speaker, and game changer himself, Rennie Currence. It's time to get your head in the game.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Game Changers Podcast. My name is Rennie Currence. I'm a speaker, author, and the CEO of Game Changer Coaching. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode number 23, and I got a very exciting show for you all today. I wanted to spend some time talking about operating in your calling, because for so many people, I believe that we all have a special gift. We all have a special talent, a special calling that we're born with. And for some of you all, you may have discovered that gift or that talent when you were young. For me, it happened. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in my apartment complex and saw a group of kids playing on the field. And I remember just running out there just like most innocent young little kids. I was like 5 years old. Saw some kids playing pickup football, and I ran out there and I was all excited. I'm like, hey guys, can I play? And I asked them if I could jump in the game, and they allowed me to play. And I remember ball snap, they threw the ball to me after a couple plays that passed. And it was as if this light bulb clicked on. And it was almost like the movie Spider-Man, for those of y'all who've seen it. It was like my spidey senses kicked on, and all of a sudden I had all these special talents and abilities. And it made me realize, thinking back on that memory, that we all have some type of gift or some type of talent that we're born with, that we're blessed with. And at that time, I knew there was something different about this ability that I had, but it was so far away from where I would eventually be, where I would eventually become. And it took in between that discovery of my calling and my talent, and actually bringing that into fruition of what it would actually provide for myself and for my family. There was so much hard work, so much sacrifice that was involved. And so for this episode, I wanted to bring on a special guest who can definitely relate to that, somebody who is definitely a game changer. I really, really hope that you enjoy this next guest. He's somebody who I'll talk about more as I get into the interview and introduce him, but you're really, really going to enjoy this. I hope that you can just really benefit from hearing his story, his testimony, just his journey of becoming a game changer. So tune in now, and let me know what you think. I want to welcome a very special game changer onto the show today. This man just has a ridiculous resume. I don't even know where to start. He's a Grammy and Dove Award-winning producer, singer, songwriter. He's appeared on ABC's The View, performed on BET. He's been included on national TV networks with folks that you definitely know, like Sean P. Diddy Combs. BET Gospel Music Choice, Breakfast Club. He's toured the U.S. abroad, has played at the House of Blues, City of Winery, Soul Train Music Awards. I can go on and on and on with just the amount of accomplishments this man has had, and just an amazing, talented artist. And I remember the first time I saw him was at an event. It was like a women's event, and I heard his name, and I was like, dang, his name sounded exactly like mine. And I had to walk over and go introduce myself. And since then, we've been, we call each other name twins, and we've been good friends. And he's just an awesome, humble individual, and definitely a game changer. Somebody who I personally believe is better than John Legend. And it's just a matter of time before he really gets to, where he's supposed to be. He already is where he's supposed to be, but I'm just honored to have him here. He came by and recorded in person. So without further ado, I want to welcome Rudy Currence onto the Game Changer Podcast. Rudy, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. Name twin, it's good to be here, man. Yes, Thank you for having me, man. Honored. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I always like to start with just hearing anybody who I bring on the show, just their story and their background, what got them to this point, man. So tell me a little bit about you, man. I know all this talent didn't just come overnight, so how'd you become Rudy Currence?
Oh, man, well, I was born and raised in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Big shouts to everybody back home in the Carolinas. And I'm a PK, which means I'm a pastor's kid. My daddy's a pastor back home in South Carolina. So my brother and I were raised playing and singing in church. My mom was both my parents are huge music fans, so they nurtured our gifts at early ages, and so I started singing at 3, started playing the keys at 6. My brother was singing at an early age too. I think he started playing the drums at 5. So we just a musical family, and from there, we went on to kind of do some things kind of similar to your story. I was in band and chorus. I hear you were in orchestra.
Yeah, man.
Multi-talented athlete. So yeah, I did that, piano lessons and everything, and went on to major in music in college. But yeah, so that's kind of what led me on this path of, the whole recording industry.
Dang, man. So 3 years old.
3 years old,
do you
man.
remember what that experience was like?
I have no idea what I was thinking, but my parents didn't even know I could sing. I actually sung at the Christmas program for our little preschool program. It was I sang "Deck the Halls," and actually to this day, my mom always reminds me. I recently named my publishing company after this little phrase that one of my little, I guess, colleagues in preschool. I came home and I told my mom, I was like, "You know what Michael say?" She's like, "What Michael say?" Michael say I'm a champion. So I named my publishing company Champion Music because of that. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. And I mean, do you remember what that moment was like? That I call them the game changing moment. I remember mine when I was, in apartments and I touched the football for the first time, and that light bulb just kind of clicked on, and it was like Spider-Man when he, realized he had all these gifts, man. Like, what was that game changing moment like?
Man, I've had a lot of pivotal moments. I remember specifically one. I was getting ready to go to college, and really it kind of shifted my focus. I've always done music, like I said, started singing when I was 3. So it's all I really knew, but I was going to do music as far as like educational music, but I didn't really know anything going forward as far as like recording. And my mom, I remember her being like, "Yo, there's a showcase coming to Charlotte, North Carolina at the time." And so she convinced me to go do the showcase. I did it, and I got a standing ovation. And there was a panel of just all these music industry elites from, people that did A&R to entertainment attorneys to record label execs. And that's literally how. So this summer before my freshman year in college, I got a record deal, And so that was a really kind of like the beginning of my whole recording career.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And you touched on something that was recurring as far as your parents and having that just that support system. How important has that been?
Man, it's crucial, man. It's so many gifted kids out here that I see, and that's one of my. I feel like it's a responsibility as a role model, man. Anybody with a platform, but I'm thankful and grateful that I had parents, in the household that literally raised us and just grounded us, on spiritual principles and, helped us to kind of shape our moral compass so that we knew right from wrong and, just disciplined us, but also nurtured those gifts, because you see so much potential in kids, but it can kind of fall by the wayside. It's never too late, but it's always good because kids are such sponges to really, make sure at an early age. Like, I'm sure somebody saw you were super talented, at an early age with, athletics, and they said, "Hey, we got to nurture this guy's gift." You think about how many people that not everybody's gifted to do what you do, but there are some people that are gifted that just never got an opportunity or weren't not prepared when they did get an opportunity.
Right. Now, that's awesome, man. And, appreciate you sharing that. You're exactly right. It's all about those people who kind of step in, that support system. Definitely a witness to that, man. I had so many people who blessed me in my life and just did things that I wouldn't even right now do for some people. Man, it's just crazy to see, how far you come. And I know, like we always talk about, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
You just came from a photo shoot, man.
Right.
So, I'd love for you to just talk about, for our listeners, man, and for those people who are just on this journey that you kind of already overcame and kind of starting out. What are some of those challenges that you navigate?
I think some of the things that an artist has to overcome is insecurities, having to perfect your craft, having to learn the business. You can be super gifted, but if you don't know how to take advantage and maximize opportunities, or if you don't have the work ethic to sustain what you're doing, a lot of times you can fall by the wayside too. So I think those are some things that have allowed me to be consistent. Of course, the grace of God. But, also, like I said, I posted something yesterday about, you're one yes away. And but sometimes the yes we're looking for, the validation we're looking for, comes from within. Right. You got to have that confidence within yourself and belief system. And that comes again from your support system. People kind of like planting that seed in your life, like, yo, you can do this. So when you get up of age, you can say, hey, no, I'm built for this, so no matter how many no's somebody tells you, I already have said yes. And so I'm looking and expecting that yes, that's going to change my life.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You talked about insecurity. You talked about just preparation. And,
right.
I mean, shoot, as an athlete, we know all about that, man. So when I see you play the piano, man, it's like seeing a professional athlete that's, that's in a different realm, man.
Wow,
you
man.
just do it. Like, that's just you.
Yeah.
Like, ain't no way I got teach you no techniques. And I know, that's definitely been hours upon hours of work, man. So can you just talk about just your work ethic and just, You
know what, I've learned, well, at one point, I'm so passionate about it. Like, I would do it. Just, I want to do music for the rest of my life because I feel like that's what I was created to do. Right. But it definitely takes discipline. It definitely takes, and that's there again. I know I keep talking about a support system, but as a child, you don't necessarily want to practice. You don't necessarily want. So having somebody be like, no, you get your behind in here and work on these skills, or you get your behind in here, and even like with academics. My mom was a stickler for that. Like, you gotta make sure those grades on point before you do anything else. You know what I mean? Right. Music included. So, I think that's important. Also, I've learned, career-wise, just to be consistent. Like, even if you do, I tell people that are, they might have a full-time job doing something else, and their passion might be a side project temporarily. But as long as you're doing something toward that passion and toward that dream or that vision every day, it's going to pay off.
Wow. No, you're exactly right, man. That consistency, just like you said, the challenges and having those people to push you when you don't feel like it, man. That's huge. I mean, I can think about so many times, but one thing that came up in my mind as you were speaking was, those times. I know we all have those valley moments, I call them. Yeah. Times when we were in the pit, like Joseph. I mean, were there any moments that came where you just was like, man, I don't know?
No, man. It's been a lot of times. The good thing is, man, I got such crazy faith that I don't tend to stay down. I think that as creatives, like, I'm sure man, like, when it's good, it's great. It's like the high is high. And then when you know what I mean? Get disappointed to be like the low is low. So I don't know, man. Like, in those low moments, I think it's my faith that keeps me going. Just hope, like, knowing that something's gonna shake eventually. It's not gonna be like this always. That the darkest hour is before the day, and the joy comes in the morning. All those things that you can refer back to. Those seeds that were planted, those things that keep me going.
Definitely, man. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. And I mean, as you were speaking, a word that came to mind was anchor. Yeah. That anchor, man, it's like no matter how high you go, no matter how low you go in life, it's like the anchor, which is, for both of us, our faith, man. Right. Just sustains you. And it's like that's obviously something that's been implanted in you from the beginning. Yeah, man. And I see so many people, whether it's athletes. I mean, I look at athletes, musicians, actors. We're all kind of in that same world of entertainment. Right. And it's like there's no in between. It's like you either everybody knows your name, you household, or like nobody really knows about you. Right. And you working towards it. Yeah. So it's just two totally different ends of the spectrum. And so if you don't have those anchors in place, man. Right. So you can easily go astray. And just beyond, your family, you talked about that, and just your upbringing and things that you've done, man. One thing I always believe in is mentors, man. So, can you talk about just any mentors that you had along the way, or just people who inspired you?
Definitely. One of them actually lives here in Atlanta. Ian Burke. Big shouts to him. He's one of the people. I said that when I was like 17, 18. He found me in Charlotte, North Carolina at this showcase. But
Wow.
he's been pretty influential throughout my career. But he's also been a dude that's discovered TLC and, you know, Escape and, you know, was had his hands on some things with Outkast in the early stages. So
Wow.
for, you know, somebody like that to kind of, you know, mentor me and believe in me enough to connect me to his contacts. That was really big as far as industry connections. Also, Quincy Jones. So used to be signed and had the opportunity to write and sing a song with Quincy Jones. And so I went to LA to shoot the video, and I'll never forget. I was like, "Can I sing a song for you?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So I sang for him, and he was like, "Yo, this kid is special."
Wow.
And I remember he gave me his card, you know, and just for somebody like Quincy Jones, who mentored and was the producer for Michael Jackson, to say that I'm special is like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like, what?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was crazy.
Dang. Wow. And, I mean, it says you talked about that, man. I thought about going from that transition because we all had that moment. We all do what we do because we love it. And it's like, you know, you're doing it in church. Like, I played drums in church, and I loved it, but I never got to that point where, you know, I was meeting people at this high level in the business side of things. But I experienced that with football, you know, going from that kid who just, my dream was to play at Georgia and to go to the NFL, and then I got there, and it was just like, some was good. You know, some of the things I was able to do was good, but then I learned the business side and some of the shady side of it, man.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear just how that's been for you, going from, you know, somebody who obviously had the gift and loved what you did and was nurtured in a you know, faith-filled environment, to like this business world now. Just some of the challenges, man, and things that you've learned. And
it's crazy, man. And to add another level to that, man, social media sometimes doesn't make it any better, because I think that as you're trying to prep yourself for success, you kind of can fall victim to comparing and contrasting your life and your process to somebody else's highlight reel that you see on your timeline.
Right.
You know, and so it's just there again, having to always kind of refer back to and remember who you are and know what your worth is and know what your value is. But it's been a crazy roller coaster of a ride. This recording industry is definitely not for people that lack, you know, courage and heart. There have been some times where, you know, people didn't get who I was as an artist, or might say things, you know, to discourage you, or you know, not give you credit or acknowledge you. But on the flip side, there have been so many times, even, you know, talking about social media, I've had a lot of, you know, success, you know, as an independent artist, and gained a huge fan base just online from people seeing me sing my songs and do cover videos and different things like that. And even to, you know, in 2013, I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to win a Grammy and a Dove Award, which is like, you know, for musicians, that's like winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So that, you know, for every low, there's been a high that's made up for it.
Right. That's awesome, man. You know, yeah. I mean, congrats on all that. That's
Thank
huge,
you, bro.
Thank you, all the experiences, all the challenges. It's a lot. I can only imagine, because I think about my journey and just the things that I've had to do, man. And I can't imagine. Yeah. You know, you still going. It's not like sports where you know, eventually you got to give it up. Like you can't go a lot longer with your career, man. So it's amazing. And one of the things that I thought about as you were talking about, you know, your last question that you just answered was, you know, I know how I get prepared for big games, and you talked about winning the awards and all that. So, just getting yourself prepared for those big moments, like when you feeling the nerves coming before you hit that stage. Like, what's that mindset, that thought process that?
Man, I'm still working on it, to be honest, because, you know, like for example, you know, to kind of put the industries together, one of the probably most nerve-wracking things with me is singing the national anthem at a sports game. You know, like you know, just because it's like, number one, you know, like you out there like in front of all these people, you like, Lord, I'm bad with lyrics already. So I'm like, Lord, don't let me forget these words. Don't let me start the song too high and then I get to the end and just, you know, so I'm still, man, a work in progress. But, you know, there again, if you do what you love to do and you work at it constantly every day, like you perfecting your craft. So it just becomes second nature.
Yeah, that's man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, boy. Second nature, just through preparation, through doing it over and over, muscle memory. Right. Yeah, that's huge. I can definitely identify with that, and I think about that too. I'm a shower singer, so I ain't never gonna sing no national anthem. But I feel for like folks like yourself,
man, it's crazy.
It's like, man, I'll be having to check myself sometimes. Like, man, would I have messed that up? But like, because the moments be so big, and
right?
Like you said, so that's wow, that's an amazingly like challenging situation. I'm sure it's taught you like so much just about yourself and about life. So can you talk about just what your journey has taught you about yourself and how it's helped you build into the man you are now?
Man, I'm learning more and more to really trust the process. I'm learning to, just rest in that, knowing that God has a plan for everybody's life.
Right.
And also recognizing, I think sometimes we get so busy with the hustle and bustle. Oh, I'm grinding.
Right.
And knowing that there's a difference between being busy and being productive,
right.
And so I'm learning that, I need to take time to live. I need to take time to rest and, you know what I mean? Enjoy family and everything that I'm aspiring to do is going to happen in due time. You can't rush it. You can't make it happen any faster than it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So as long as I'm working every day to be prepared for whenever, that major opportunity comes along my way, then everything else is going to fall in place so I can rest and be confident in that and not be worried and, be anxious for anything.
Right. No, that's huge. You hit the nail on the head, just, making sure that you have time to just do normal, regular things for family and for the things that really matter at the end of the day and not becoming consumed and everything, man. So how do you try to find that like balance,
man. Well, I'm a homebody, man. I'm like when I'm home, I'm home. Like,
I hear you.
I'm sure I'm not, as proficient as you, but I like to work out, and try to keep the tempo right. I definitely enjoy family time, being around family, and then I also have like this camaraderie with my my singers and my supporting band and stuff. So we're getting together for a rehearsal tonight, but we have fun.
Yeah.
So it's like those types of things. Like I hang out with family and friends, and that's how I kind of decompress. But also for me, music is therapy. So when I'm not having to go out and be in front of people, just being creative and sometimes just sitting at home and playing a song and singing it, and singing it different kind of ways and just enjoying the gift that God gave me that makes it worthwhile.
That's awesome, man. I would love to hear just like when I know how it's been for me when I've written 2 books and whatnot, and I know how that process has been. It's in terms of like the inspiration that it came from, and it's always been like something spiritual that I really ain't had no control of. Like, my teachers still don't believe, I'm an author and whatnot. Like from elementary school and stuff, 'cause I was a knucklehead. And so I would love to hear just kind of how that's been for you. Like when you do get that inspiration, that like when you wrote the song "Testimony" and your other hits that you've done, man. Where's the inspiration kind of come from?
Man, life. I watch people. I'm a people watcher, so like a lot of times. Like I might write or be inspired by something I see while I'm traveling, or see something while I'm in the airport, or think about something, or just a life lesson or different things like that. So I've learned to always keep, my phone handy so I can record voice memos and melodies.
Nice.
And then I'm always texting myself lyrics or emailing myself song concepts. So that's really kind of how I stay, keep the creative flow going.
Yeah, that's dope. It sounds like you're a student of the game. Like,
definitely. Yeah. You gotta always be a student, and that's another thing, man. Just being humble. I think that sometimes people that are super talented, in any arena can sometimes just with that can become kind of conceited and arrogant. And I think, you can go so much further when your heart is in the right space.
Man, that's huge. I appreciate you sharing that because everybody need to hear that, man.
Right. We all do, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Musicians, athletes, CEOs. That's right. I'm sure you've seen it, man. Like, I think arrogance is that's one of the things that annoy me most, man.
Same, man.
Because I'm like, bro, all that stuff, like that platform you on can be taken like that.
Right.
Snap with a finger, man. And that's something that always kept me home because I knew. It eventually happened. Like, eventually hurt my knee, but I always thought about the fact that like playing my position, especially playing linebacker, that junk can be gone like any one play. You know, no matter how many weights I put on my back. So that junk kept me humble for real because I knew if I wasn't humble, God was gonna humble me eventually.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You done a good job with it though, man.
Appreciate it, man.
I've met some people that are, and it was crazy. Sometimes people are so arrogant. Nobody has the right to be, but some people are like, you're not even that good to be arrogant, right. You know. So that's crazy, bro.
For real, man. But like, another question I have is, who's the coolest person you met up to now?
One of the dopest things, man. So I'm a big Clark Sister fan. Like they're this gospel group out of Detroit, and they're gospel legends. But I had an opportunity to write a song called Sunday Morning for Karen Clark Shear, and it was Grammy nominated. We didn't win, but to me, the win was I got to work with one of the Clark sisters, and so to meet them during her live recording. That was crazy. That was surreal. So I say there's some cool people.
Yeah, I'm sure you go on and on in those moments where you just like, dang, I'm really here. Like, it's really happening.
That was crazy.
That's dope, man. Well, now I wanted to kind of shift things, man, to getting deeper into, just why you do what you do. Because I feel like with everything that we face, man, it's like you got to have a greater mission, and a greater reason or a greater why for why you do what you do and why you put yourself through everything, man, the traveling, the business side. Yeah. What is that mission, that deeper reason that fuels you, man? What's your fuel?
Man, I really want to do good in the world. Like currently I'm working on a Christian project. All of my other music has been secular, which I don't see anything wrong with, and my parents support me for doing it, doing all of it because it's positive. But I really want to shift the culture, man. I think we need more just positive role models and representation in our communities, and people that can see that hard work pays off. Somebody that's skilled at what they do, and just being true to their artistry. So that's one of the big things. And ultimately, like I always say, I don't want to follow trends. I want to set trends, and through that, I want to encourage and inspire people. And make the world a better place. Like I don't want to seem corny, but what I mean. Like I feel like we need more lights because this industry, I know with the recording industry, it's a lot of dark places, and it's a lot of dark places, high up, the food chain, So the more I can shift culture and be an example or a demonstration that hey, you can be successful and still be a good person. You can be successful and still shine your light. You can be successful and still give back. You can be successful, and educate the generation coming up under you. Those are things that I really want to strive to do.
That's dope, man. I love it. Need more people like you, bro, for real. And I guess walk me through your vision, man. Like 10 years, 15 years from now, everything goes well. What does that look like?
Wow, man, I really, really want to tour abroad. Like, I would love to tour the world doing music on bigger stages. So that's one of the things that I envision doing over the next few years. I definitely at some point would love to write and score for television and film, and utilize my music degree. I definitely want to continue to write and produce for myself, but also for other artists, and maybe like mentor and consult for either labels or, just really work with artists. Because I have a pretty good blueprint just from my own experiences of being an indie artist and how to make a lot out of limited resources. Yeah.
Wow. And just expanding on that, like for those artists who are now coming up, or just anybody, I mean, who's an entrepreneur, who's a self-starter, who's trying to get going, or it could be one piece of advice, 3 pieces of advice that you would give to them if you go back in time and kind of talk to your younger self.
Well, definitely keep people that support you and love you genuinely around you. So that support system is one.
Definitely.
Of course, keep God first. That's always first and foremost. Learn the business and always have a positive professional attitude and work ethic. And then I'd also say to any small business, utilize social media. Like pretty much everybody nowadays has a smartphone. Everybody it's demographics from, are going to be on Facebook. A different demographic might be on Instagram or Snapchat, or YouTube. Use those, find your audience, know where your target audience is, and then just really, really like promote and market and brand yourself so that those people become aware of who you are.
Yeah, wow. That's a great job, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of ask you about that. Like, what's your philosophy on branding? Because you are your brand. Like,
yeah, man.
You as musicians, as athletes, more so for musicians, you definitely like your personal brand is everything.
It means a lot, man. Like, and it's your name. I had a conversation with Banner, and he'll say this. I got a chance to work with him on his last record, David Banner.
Oh, he's a beast.
Yeah, he's crazy, man. Super mad talented. And he had this one record, so his single "Marry Me," I co-wrote and co-produced that with him. He gave me the opportunity to be a part of that. Wow. And then so after that, he was like, "Yo, I want you to sing a hook on this record." And when I heard the song and the lyrics, I was like, "Dave, I can't sing that, Banner," And he actually respected me more because that was not a part of my brand.
Right.
And I understood what he was trying to say and what he was saying, it's a positive message, but I couldn't say it in that way.
Right.
And so I remember recently he did a radio interview and he brought that up and was talking about me. He's like, "No, this dude is the real deal."
Wow.
And I think everybody should, represent their brand like that, know what your brand is and don't compromise.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. Exactly right. A lot of people don't even know what their brand is. Like you said, they just kind of lost and kind of flow with the trends and doing whatever dance is popular.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right, man.
Well, man, so just wrapping up, man. I know your time is limited, man. So I just want to ask you one last question that just really, I guess, wraps up the whole entire show, which is being a game changer. So what does being a game changer mean to you?
Oh, man. So definitely, I think setting trends, not following them, but still finding a way not only to be innovative, but be classic. Because I don't want to, like, for me as an artist, like, I've never wanted to just be different just to be different. But I want to find my voice and make sure whatever I'm saying is authentic to me, but then it's also beneficial to the world. So that to me is how I plan to change the game through my music. And all I need is one mic and one keyboard.
Dope, man. That's exciting. I love how you blended the two, authenticity and then benefiting the world. Because I think people usually go one way or the other,
right? And
rarely do they blend both, man. So that's amazing answer. I appreciate you saying that. And how can the listeners follow you and purchase your music and continue to support?
Now y'all don't get my name confused because me and Rennie got like almost the same name. It's like just one or two letter differences here.
Exactly.
So, but you can follow me online, social media at Rudy_Currence is at RUDY_CURRENCE. You can also check me out on my website, RudyCurrenceOnline.com. We also have a t-shirt line, Testimony Tees, so you can get those at mytestimonytee.com. That's mytestimonytee.com.
Oh, well, man, what's up next? Any big
projects? I'm touring this fall, working on releasing a new single. I'm really excited about. Testimony was a top 20 Billboard record for me, so that was definitely an amazing experience in that campaign. And so from that, of course, we did a My Testimony Tuesday series that will continue this fall, and working on my forthcoming record, Stained Glass Windows, and hopefully a lot more music after that too.
Dope, man. Well, you want to sing a little song for us?
Oh, man. He's like, I don't know. It's just, this is.
Oh, man, I forgot you played. I don't know if it's tuned or not.
Is it?
It might be tuned. Yeah, try it out, man. That'll be super dope.
Let's see.
Yeah, flip the little strap down.
Oh. Everybody I know just wanna make it, and surely I will. 'Cause I'm out for Mount Zion, and it's way out on the hill.
Wow.
Everybody got struggles in your life, but don't you let them keep you down from your hustle toward the New Jerusalem. Even though I wasn't raised in the ghetto, still identify myself with the struggle. Little black boy with glasses from the suburbs. I wasn't heard and sometimes I got picked on. I wasn't black enough, so I got picked on. Wasn't white enough, but this is what I told y'all. One of these days when I grow up, I'm gonna be famous. Everybody gonna know what my name is. Everybody I know just wanna make it. Surely I will, cause I'm bound for Mount Zion and his way out on the hill. Everybody got struggles in your life, but don't you let them keep you down from your soul toward that New Jerusalem. Ooh, yeah.
Dang, man. Wow. That's awesome. Rudy Currence, everybody.
Hey.
Dude,
Thanks, man.
Talented, man. Golly. Appreciate that, bro.
Yes,
wow.
sir.
That was a blessing. Hey, I'm going to try to play that guitar. Golly. Dang.
Yeah, bro.
Man, my jack sound like $1 million instrument, man.
Yeah, man. It's a good guitar.
Crazy. Yeah, I bought that when I was in Nashville. When I was playing with the Titans, I just set up my music room, and yeah, man.
Wow. So you know Chris Hope?
Yeah, C-Hope, yeah.
Yeah. He's from my hometown, Rock Hill.
C-Hope used to give me a hard time.
Wow.
Yeah, man, that was my locker buddy. I was between him and Cortland Finnegan.
Oh, wow.
When I was a rookie, yeah, so he used to be on me, but
that's what's up. Do you keep in touch with him?
Not as much, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll see him this year when we go back for homecoming, man. But yeah, bro. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, man. Of
Wish
course.
you continued success, bro. Continued blessings.
Definitely,
keep doing what
bro.
You're doing, and I'm gonna be rooting, bro. Always.
Thank you, man. Keep me posted on the podcast.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah.
Post everything, bro. So. And there you have it. That was the interview with Rudy Currence, man. It was such an honor to have him on the show, and such a humble guy, man, to have accomplished the amount of things that he has. And I really hope that you were impacted by just hearing his story, and it helps you in whatever walk of life that you're in, and it helps you continue to be a game changer. And I would love to hear from you, just through my Instagram. If you want to shoot me an email through my website, it's info@renniecurrent.com. I'd love to get your feedback on this show, what you like, what you didn't like. Please, I don't have hardly any reviews on my iTunes, so need y'all, if you're listening and you enjoyed the show, please definitely make sure that you leave a review on any of the podcast platforms, whether it's Spreaker, iTunes, or Google Play, any one of them, Spotify as well. I would really, really appreciate that. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I'm available for speaking engagements. I'm available if you need one-on-one coaching, if you want help on taking your business, taking your life, taking your career to the next level. Definitely reach out. Visit me at renniecurrent.com. That's RennieCurran.com. Follow me on Instagram as well. Make sure you guys follow Rudy, man. He's a really good dude. He's got really the sky as his limit, man. The sky's not even his limit, really. I shouldn't even say that. That dude is just on a whole other level of talent. So it's exciting. Yeah, as I always challenge you to do, be a game changer.